Hello everyone. Very good evening. Welcome to the live webinar on postgraduate management program deciding between a cosmetic claim and a corporate claim hosted by AI International College, Malappuram, Kerala, India. I'm Shihab Tangal, admission coordinator of AI International College. All of us have made a huge effort to join us today. We are deeply appreciative and offer you the most grateful welcome. So I hope that I'm audible and visible to all listeners are here. Your active participation is very important throughout the whole session. There will be a question and answer session after the presentation. So I request you all you can use your chat box for your questions, and our beloved presenters will answer you after all the sessions. AI International College, empowering today, enlightening tomorrow.
It all begins with a dream, a search for knowledge and insight. We at the AIIC International College have committed ourselves to provide our students with the best education and learning experience. Welcome to the world of a novel tech culture you do not want to miss. AIIC International College belongs to the prestigious Atlas Group of institutions which started its journey in 1998 in the UAE, the global hub of business, tourism and development. In 2015, we broadened our horizon to the United Kingdom, opening up a world of possibilities. Holding this legacy tight, we are opening a new chapter in the God's own country, Kerala, Malappuram, the land of celebrated poets, musicians, astronomers and mathematicians. At AIIC International College, a global business school and an AICTE approved autonomous college, academic decorum is the invaluable cultural richness of our veteran faculty members who hail from across the globe. Their wealth of multi-level educational merits from renowned universities of the world instills a collaborative methodology in areas of teaching, scholarship and research. Every student deserves the best education as well as infrastructure, and we assure that each of our students, irrespective of ethnicity, socio-economic status or disabilities, have access to one of the best amenities an educational institution can provide in Kerala. At AIIC International College, you're our prime concern. Brace yourself to witness the amazing treat that we've designed for you. We are a 24/7 fully automated digital campus with state-of-the-art smart IT hub, international educational exhibition hall, language hub, innovation and management lab, artificial intelligence lab, lecture theatres with premium audio-visual gadgets and interactive panel displays, digital library, campus Wi-Fi, premium multi-cuisine food court, multi-purpose futsal court, indoor chill-out zone, open-air amphitheatre, eco-friendly campus, high-tech hostel facilities for the students and much more. Being an automated campus, our vision is to follow a collaborative and multi-dimensional education pattern with global innovation. AIIC International College has a strong nexus with industry, government and business giants to offer you privileged internship programs, career workshops and placements from the wide range of Indian and international level courses provided. PGDM approved by Council of Technical Education, AICTE, Government of India. PGDM in Supply Chain and Logistics, PGDM in Information Technology, PGDM in Business Entrepreneurship, PGDM in Travel and Tourism. AIIC International College is easily accessible from Malappuram Town, Calicut Airport and the local railway station. Be a part of AIIC International College for an unbeatable educational experience in Kerala or even in India. Learn what you love and love what you learn only at AIIC International College. Ours is a tradition of possibility, inspired to become the leaders of tomorrow, creating a world that we can be proud of. AIIC International College, a division of Atlas Group of institutions, empowering today, enlightening tomorrow. For more information, call 0091 483 295 7777, WhatsApp 0091 854 7295 email info@aiic.in or visit www.aiic.in.
International College, fully automated, 24/7 open, AI integrated, autonomous, and eco-friendly campus. AIIC International College, embarking a new era in the education ecosystem of Kerala. We aim to bring forth a paradigm shift in the education system by embracing novel tech culture. The contemporary campus, occupied with the state-of-the-art technology, will offer courses in the field of business entrepreneurship, supply chain and logistics management, information technology, tourism and travel mediated by artificial intelligence. AIIC International College is a subsidiary of Atlas Group of institutions which has a rich heritage of producing leading global academics as well as national and international leaders successfully over the last 3 decades in the UAE. Now I take this opportunity to welcome you all and our beloved presenters of today to the live webinar. Dr. Muniruddin, Director AIIC International College, Dr. Ahmad Farazgan, Assistant Professor at Aligarh Muslim University, Dr. Puthukuchi Tharayambakam, Professor at Tourism and Travel, AIIC International College, Professor Naresh Aswarya, Business Entrepreneurship, AIIC International College, Professor Anessa SB, Coventry University, Dagenham, UK. Now we will move on to the next. I would like to welcome the presenter of today, Dr. Muniruddin. Dr. Muniruddin, Director, AIIC International College. He is an industry-taught international academic proven track record of excellence in product launch, business management and entrepreneurship, academic writing, educational leadership, research, teaching and training. He is the propounder of the novel co-production model in higher education created by the Education Division of American Society of Quality, which has recently been chosen for further research by Kingston University and St. George University of London. Dr. Munir, please start.
Mr. Shihab, and a very good evening to one and all joining us today for this live webinar on management programs, deciding between a cosmetic climb and a corporate climb. Thank you so much, my dear students and parents, for joining us. It is indeed a pleasure and I'm honored to share with you some of the thoughts that would really help you to take a call on deciding for a course in management. Before we start off with the theme of the decision tree, let me have a thought and let me share with you what are the aspirations of management students. Let's collectively ask and try to answer the question, what is in mind of students when they think of management education? Some of the students might think that it might be good enough to enter very easily to a corporate job, corporate world. Some others might think that they will be fine-tuned to start their own business. And still some others might think that a management program would help them to develop their leadership as well as managerial skills, which they can transfer to different kinds of roles, not necessarily in business and entrepreneurship, but in non-profit organizations such as politics, social organizations, and such venues. Now, no matter what students are guided by, all these upskilling all are required in our day-to-day life as well as in our professional life. So let us also look at the kind of what are their nature and how they are as individuals. Most of the students who aspire to become management professionals are much more creative than their fellow human beings. They are found to be very individuals, right? And I'm sure that so those students have a great career in management and leadership. Now, when we talk about the aspiration on the one hand, there is a fundamental question that arises among the students and those who support the students in their desire to enroll for management program. is there a sufficient demand for management graduates? This is a fundamental question that normally pops up in the mind of parents and public. And these are really reasonable questions that need to be answered with facts and figures. So let me share an interesting, interesting point. Let me share interesting points about whether there are huge demand for skilled management graduates. I'm sure that because of the startup ecosystem that is getting evolved over the years in the state as well as in the country, thanks to the developmental policies pursued by the state as well as the central government, there are quite good number of startups and companies coming up in the coming years. So they, of course, would require skilled management graduates. Another striking point that might appear to be very alarming as of now, but it is an opportunity in disguise, is the opportunities that is going to be thrown open by COVID outbreak. In fact, we all know that we all got disrupted because of the COVID pandemic. At the same time, we are confident that once this pandemic is over, the economy will get unfolded throughout the globe, and there will be new versions and models of business which will be more of digitally enabled and technologically managed. So we have to keep ourselves ready and prepared for the new upcoming versions and models of operations in business, including in supply chain, which has actually got worst hit in the pandemic. And also another area is travel and tourism, and we have taken a bold new step of introducing and offering this new generation courses with the understanding and deep awareness that these are times of extraordinary nature, but this will be overcome by the coming months. And we also wanted to prepare our students. So there would be not only for our students whom no matter in which campus they enrolled at, there will be quite good openings because of these scenarios. Now, another point that I would like to also add to substantiate the idea that skill management graduates will be required in future is that there is a quite good element of reverse migration which is happening. That is, most of the people are coming back after having experienced abroad, having learned from the University of Life and workplaces, and they have got their own business ideas, and they would like to convert those ideas into entrepreneurship. I'm sure that our respected professor, Dr. Naresh Warrior, would be able to provide on how people with perfects could add value to their own dreams and get those dreams converted to business solutions. And the fourth kind of point that I would like to share here is maybe if you have looked at the demographic features of most of the entrepreneurs, they have all come up live maybe because of a chance that has happened to them, not necessarily because they have been nurtured or they have chosen to pursue that path of business and entrepreneurship. So for them, actually, they are actually lookout for succession planning with the idea that they have to entrust this entrepreneurship to their young ones, and they also would like to get their children educated and trained on management arena. So these are actually adding value to the contention that there will be huge demand for skilled management graduates. Now, and who are actually helping the graduates to get education in the area of management? How are they get trained on management? These are fundamental questions need to be addressed and assessed. So in India, for example, we have two wings under the Ministry of Human Resource Development. They are AICTE and Association of Indian Universities. So far, they have been supervising and monitoring the education in the country. So let us look at how conventional colleges and traditional universities are being supervised and monitored by Association of Indian Universities on the one hand, and autonomous colleges and institutions are regulated and monitored and supervised by All India Technical Education, All India Council of Technical Education, which is actually the nodal agency for supervising the professional education in the country. So A few of our parents might have this question in mind that whether an AICT affiliated or approved institution, does it require an affiliation from a university? There is no need actually, because AICT affiliated institution need not have an affiliation with the university, because they have got an autonomy. As soon as they get an autonomy, there is no need of any other kind of affiliation with any university or college. They become standalone institutions with autonomy to improve and work on the quality of education in the campus. In India, for example, if you look at the statistics of number of institutions under AICT, it comes out to be around 11,000, which includes engineering, pharmacy, and management institutions. When coming to the data of Kerala alone, we have around 6 institutions which are given autonomous status by the AICT for offering management programs. And AI International becomes one of the 6 institutions. Now, why there is a difference between the difference in the programs offered by AICT affiliated institutions and a college affiliated to university? Maybe because of the reason, maybe because of the fact that AICT is being restrained not to enter and intervene in the matters of universities because of the Supreme Court directives. But for an autonomous institution, AICT is a nodal agency. AICT supervises, monitors, and evaluates the quality, and it is in another way a certification that AICT approved institutions should stand to the dynamics, stand to the development in the industry, and get those updates infused in the college and the campus. Now, please. Now, how an AICT affiliated approved institution utilizes the autonomy in order to ensure that employability skills are sufficiently earned by the students when they are in the campus, and there is sufficient ease for the graduates to move to corporate as soon as they complete the tenure in the campus. How it happens, then we'll have a look at it. There are actually 5 fundamental concerns and issues that need to be addressed in the academic programs, policies, processes, which an autonomous institution can very well take care. I would like to list and illustrate how are we going ahead with these strategic interventions in the process and programs of our college in general, and how it happens in other colleges as well. Now, if you look at the hiring policies of most of the colleges and the universities in general in India, they stipulate that the faculty should have academic qualifications, maybe a post-graduation, and a net clearance. So, but for autonomous institutions, we have the autonomy to stipulate high-end requirement, high-end employee specification. For example, AI International stipulate that any faculty joining as assistant professor should have minimum 4 years of industry or corporate or management experience. We stipulate this with the understanding and conviction that they will be better in helping students understand the real business scenarios with their own experimental learning. So this is the one point most of the autonomous institutions, including IIMs, stipulate that industry-turned academicians are welcomed on board. Second thing that I would like to talk about is about instructional material, which is in another way called curriculum. How are we developing our curriculum? How are we engaged with the industry in order to help our curriculum industry ready and relevant to the market? So we get feedback from the recruiters. How are the pulses in the market? How are the expectations of the industry? What are the gap between the industry and the institutions? And we capture those gaps and try to fill those gaps through revisions of our curriculum, which is quite common in autonomous institutions and best ranking institutions of the world that we go by this methodology. The third thing that is the most striking, and this is actually the key to development of skills among the students, is our emphasis on student engagement space. How the student engagement space is to be utilized, giving much more student talking time than teacher talking time, giving more chances for co-production of knowledge, skills, with the support of peers, their own peers, professors, trainers, and industry experts, taking feedback on a regular basis and keeping on updations on skills development. These are quite unique to autonomous institutions, which where you don't find this kind of things in conventional colleges, where you find textbook based informations are passed on to students, a kind of linear lineage of communication of concepts. So this is actually help students to gather information and knowledge. Maybe those information and knowledge might be suitable for an era which has already been gone by. But we focus on things and help students develop independent learning skills so that they are really prepared and higher order thinking, and easily they will be able to take up challenges of the workplace. The next point that we would like to talk about is about assessment, in how assessment is being tuned in a way that they are no more written kind of assessment alone, as well as summative assessment. There will be assessment for learning along with the conventional assessment of learning. So customized assessment with the help of AI will be implemented in our systems. So these are things that comes in our academic programs processes, which will of course ensure that the students get the necessary skills and value additions. Apart from these academic programs and the changes in the policies and practices that we have already made a roadmap about, we also have a capstone kind of arrangement with the startups and corporates in the Ingal city of Kerala. That is like immediately after 6 tri-semesters, the students will have to undergo an engagement with industry, and they have to learn, they have to engage with the industry leaders, and they have to imbibe best thinking, and they have to put into action, they have to translate best practices learned. So these are the kind of blending that we would like to bring in our academic as well as scholastic endeavors. And I hope that this will help students to develop employability skills, which is of course been alarmingly found very much in short supply because of the fact that unfortunately many of the colleges are following a system which has got almost little relevance today. Now, having embedded all these kind of things in the processes, I'm sure that our students will be able to climb up corporate ladder if at all they would like to choose that pathway, or they would like to start their own enterprises. They would also be able to able to do it very confidently. Now, it's not my idea to criticize what's there in the conventional systems and management program. At the same time, this is a very serious thought that our parents and students should give before they choose colleges and programs. Hence, I'm just compelled to share my thoughts. Maybe you can just reflect on those thoughts and make informed choices. So firstly, when we look at the academic qualification that has been stipulated by conventional university is purely academic. The qualifications are purely academic, and we find that in conventional colleges, people who have just come from the academic campuses directly come to teach and train students. This is actually an unfortunate and pathetic situation, because they are not bringing any value from the industry, for which that actually students have to be sent. So I would suggest that these are things that might derail and disable the development of students upskilling and reskilling process. The another point that is quite dangerous for human capital formation in the country in general and among the society in particular is the adherence to age-old syllabus, which has gone obsolete, and type of content which has been written maybe some quite good years ago. And the third point that has to be captured and addressed is the traditional method of delivery, that is talk and talk, wherein students are transferred knowledge, and they expect that this knowledge might be helpful to he met his professor, said, "Sir, you have taught me something which I am not able to find relevance to the challenges that I see today." Then the professor said, "In fact, there was an underlying principle. What I taught you is not just the concept. What I taught you is the independent learning skills and your understanding that the things that you have been taught should not be used as such, but in the process, I actually have tried to transfer and impute in you the kind of skills which is required for the coming challenges." Now, in spite of all these deficiencies, there are quite a good number of studies across the globe saying that the conventional system of educating students, schooling, colleging, all this needs to be, needs to undergo fundamental change. But there are quite few changes coming up, except in few systems and sectors. Now, in spite of all these deficiencies and lacunas, unfortunately, most of the parents are guided by cosmetic appeal when they choose programs, when they choose an MBA program or when they choose a PGDM program, or for that matter, any other program. What they are guided by is like the infra, maybe sometimes they would look at the history of the college. Maybe if you see that the college is of a century old, then they think that, okay, this college is going to produce and very intelligent and wise graduates. Not necessarily. I'm not critical of any of the colleges, but I just wanted to make it a point that we should not be guided by cosmetic appeal. We also have to see what is the content inside the program. So heritage alone cannot help skills, and we have to be aware and deeply aware about the dark tunnel that we are going to push our children or our students to, so that they should not regret about the decision that they take. I said very firmly these with the conviction that and the statistics that we have from the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development have come out with statistics about the number of graduates not in education, employment, or training, which means in another way, that means there are quite a good number of graduates have got degrees, but still they are waiting for jobs. Industry has also requirement for employees. They don't find a suitable candidate. So there is a gap. That gap is more in some of the economies. In spite of the fact that we still are along with countries which are of recent origin. Our statistics in need is very closely with that of Iran, 30%. India also 30%. For example, if you look at the figure of Afghanistan and Iraq, badly hit by wars, it is 40%, just 10% above our figures. Now look at the brightened and very promising figures from France, Finland, and Germany. They have 5 to 10% in terms of needs. In terms of need, number of students in employment, number of students not in education, employment, or training, with the number of youth looking for employment or entrepreneurship. So this category of people not in education or training. They are actually in search of employment. They need an employment, or they would like to start their own projects or entrepreneurship business projects, but they are falling short of skills, competencies to live up to the expectations of their own employers or their own enterprises. So my question and my challenge here is to young students that is it worth to pursue a degree which you cannot fetch your job? So it's a fundamental question we have to reflect on before we choose a program or a campus. So as soon as we are aware, it is better that we will land in informed decisions about management programs. Now, our roadmap is very clear to us. We have well communicated on those to our well-wishers. We have also communicated it to our society and public at large. And recently, it is an interesting thing that when we spoke about this to none other than Dr. Shashidharu Rampi, when we invited him for the inauguration of AI International a couple of weeks ago, and there was an interesting vouching by him of our AI credibility. Let us watch together for a while.
So what I looked when I heard about AI International Colleges, how are you different? What are you offering that these 5,000 MBA programs are not, or these 85 other institutions are not? And it seems that AI International College stands out amongst its contemporaries by the emphasis it places on the future, with elements such as voice coaches for students with mother tongue influence, opportunities for students to do capstone projects in the startup-rich Intel city. These kinds of innovations suggest to me that AI International College will be a unique institution, and therefore it's a great pleasure for me to formally inaugurate it. Now, I do so knowing that these are truly exceptional times for all of us, with the world as we know it struggling to contain and address the transmission of the COVID-19 pandemic. Especially pleased to note that AI International College's emphasis on digital learning appears to be a strong model to adapting to our new reality. Kerala has a rapidly evolving startup ecosystem, but at the same time suffers from an unmet need for skilled management graduates to help develop this ecosystem. There has been growth in business development, but also in the number of graduates not in education, in employment, or in training. This is down to a large number of structural issues, from a lack of institutional autonomy to a failure to adapt to changing technology. AI International College has at its outset shown itself to be deeply aware of these problems, and therefore I hope you're going to be a bold new institution using innovation to challenge and change the existing paradigms of MBA education. So
this is what Dr. Shashidharu, Global icon from India, who has been invited to different business schools and universities across the globe to deliver speeches. So we are confident that, and he is also confident, I am sure that those who listen to us today will be confident that our college and program will be able to nurture required managerial and leadership skills among our students and graduates. So what makes AI International PGDM program unique? Let's look at it. What Shashidharu said, apart from what he said, and just illustrating what he said, I can just suggest that what we have here is the presence of experienced industry professors on board, and judicious blending of knowledge, skill, and values in the campus, in the course, and opportunities to do capstone projects in the city itself. Voice coaches for students with mother tongue influence. We know that some students exceptionally very good in communication skills, but at the same time they are assigned by the MTIs. So we have programs and people to help them fine tune their voices and accents to match with international standards. And the another area is deliveries. Content will be not just delivered in a linear way, it will be co-produced with the help of AI, and we will be the first campus in Kerala to integrate AI in education, and we'll have a global classrooms. And apart from these things, we have also some offers for our students of the upcoming batch. That's quite interesting, because we also would like to recognize, congratulate all those people when they graduate in the year 2022. If they have come up with flying colors, they have come up with flying colors, they will be provided avenues to do international internship in London and Dubai. In this way, they will be engaging with industry and startups over there. They will have moments with members of the royal family in both the countries, in the UAE and UK. See that these are moments that we can treasure. At the same time, they will be able to have a global insight and perspective on how to move ahead with their career. Talking of global perspective, we also have to recognize the institutions they have been serving the community and society at large in educating and empowering people here. No matter where we differ the way they do, and we have a different kind of roadmap and vision and mission, but at the same time, we wanted to honor the service that have been funded by them. So we also would sponsor students, 5 meritorious students, and they will be awarded corporate scholarships on the basis of their academic excellence. If they have become the first in their own alma mater, no matter whether their institution is the best or the average, but we would love to recognize them in front of their purposes and principles in a program as soon as they enroll for the program at AI. And I cannot just leave this seminar without talking about new generation specialization that has been sought after very recently and will be sought after in the years to come because of the disruption and the changes in the way business is being done. So unlike the conventional management specializations such as marketing, HR, and operations management, we have autonomy. We have autonomy to offer specializations in new generation courses such as business entrepreneurship, supply chain and logistics, information technology, and travel and tourism. There could be a kind of pessimism and skepticism among some students that how are we going ahead with the travel and tourism at a time when the travel and tourism is most hit. Our answer to this will be given by our professor, Dr. Kotukuchi. When you listen to him, you will be surprised and enlightened. How are we planning for the future in 2022, and how are we going to use this pandemic time to help you upskill in that domain as well? Yeah. So, having said this, I also have to share a few skill development program, which also of course will be certified by the London Academy of Applied Technology, UK, wherein we offer to our graduates 6 customized programs which are going to add feather to the cap on building up their competency on 6 core disciplinary and co-disciplinary skills. And I am sure that you are able to watch and see these programs. And I'm sure that this program is going to help you move a mile ahead of your competitors, and you will be able to send a sign of pleasure to your parents who have decided to enroll you in our campus. So I'm sure that your parents and you will not have to go look back once you have decided to enroll in our campus, because we have a very clear-cut programs and policies to help you understand, to help you earn the skills, values, and knowledge that is required for the century, for the current century. Thank you so much. And I'm sure that you will further be enlightened by our professors. And I leave the platform to them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Munir. I believe the quality and variety of our presentation have set new levels of expectation for future performance and enlightened how AI International College and its programs are unique. Thank you, sir. Now, we're moving on to the next, Dr. Putukuchi Trayambagam. Dr. Potukuchi Trayambagam is an acclaimed professor of international repute in travel and tourism, with more than 25 years of experience in many prestigious national and international universities. Dr. Potukuchi Trayambagam, please, sir, welcome.
Thank you, Syed. Very good evening to all the parents and students who are attending this wonderful webinar where I will be talking about the careers in travel and tourism. The parents and students, I know that it's a time of admissions and there might be a lot of thoughts in your mind that which would be the right path of selection of the career to my child. Yes, you are in the right path, and I, as a professor in AI International College, taking care of the domain of travel and tourism, would strongly recommend you to go for the choice of selecting a course in travel and tourism, because this is a sector which has no end. For time being, because of this pandemic of COVID, yes, there's a small stop break, but it's not the continuous break. Very soon, the industry is going to be revived and there's going to be big travel again, and the future is going to be very, very good and prosperity for this industry. As you all know, the parents and students, the industry is growing day by day, and in coming days, it's going to be very, very more and increasing in a big, great way. And the travel and tourism is such a sector where it's very vibrant, glamorous, glorious, cozy, comfortable lifestyle, and a good earning potentiality of the jobs. And for the food lovers, this is the right industry to select, because you have an option of tasting different foods across the world and seeing the cultures of different nooks and corners of the globe. So parents and the students, this is the way how you enjoy the course of travel and tourism. You never feel it as a course, but you feel it as a journey which you are making, and the travel and tourism is going to mold your career into a different shape where you never imagined, and the coming future is going to be a very bright platform for you. And why somebody has to choose a career in travel and tourism? There should be many doubts in your mind. Let me answer your doubts as a professor in travel and tourism, that most of the common doubts which come here is that, why should I choose this course? And what is the benefit I get once I choose this course? Or what is the benefit my child gets when he enrolls into this course? Any course or any career which is majorly looked upon is the job what you get and how comfortable you are in the job, and at the end of the day, what is the money I am going to make out of that job. Your parents and students, travel and tourism sector will give you a good scope of job potential earnings, and you can really make a good salary. I can just simply say that an air hostess or a flight steward who work in the domestic sector usually earn a basic salary of 25,000 to 40,000 rupees and 60,000 rupees depending upon the airliners. And in the international sector, they earn more than 1,20,000 to 30,000 rupees per month. And when you look at the other small example of a hotel general manager who can earn around 64,000 rupees per annum, which is again simple possible funda that how to make money and enjoy your life in a most reasonable way, having good saving potential, spending to your pocket, and fulfilling all your desires and tastes as per the need of your pocket. So friends, Parents and students, the work of your son or your brother or sister, whoever is able to choose this career, they will feel their work is very, very enjoyable. This is not a static job. This is not a desktop job. It's a job where you have a lot of interaction, where you interact with the clients, where you interact with your customers, where you understand them, where you solve their problems. So you never feel that you're working for 8 hours in a shift just by sitting at a one desk and looking at one or two people coming across you. No, it's not like that. You go with different people come to you. Sometimes you go out of the office, you go to the clients, you go to the corporate clients, you give demos, you make them convince, you make them understand what is the beauty of travel and tourism, and you sell the products. So you never feel boredom of your job, because this is not a static job, and you have the flexibility of moving here and there, and you keep talking to your customers, understand them. And this is the only area of the sector where you have an opportunity to meet the celebrities, an opportunity to meet the politicians, the opportunity to meet the corporate giants, and where you have the opportunity to meet the CIPs and the VIPs, that is the corporate important persons and the very, very important persons. You can always see a big smile on your face once you're working in this industry, even though how tired you are, because you have a satisfaction in your mind that from morning till evening, I have answered so many questions, I have attended so many clients, I have solved so many problems, I have designed so many itineraries, and many people have given a lot of applause on me and patted me with my good work. So this is the satisfaction you get at the end of the day. And dear parents and students, one of the important aspects why somebody has to choose this career, and what is the benefit they are going to get once they finish their course and get into the employment, is that there's a big satisfactory hikes what you get in the travel and tourism sector. You get good salary. Apart from the salary, you also get a lot of perks for the perks and incentives for the sale and other sort of promotions you're doing on part of the company. And you get a lot of discounts and promotional offers from different other sectors and the stakeholders of travel and tourism, like the aviation, like the convention and the things. Then you get it from the travel part, then you get it from the recreation team, then you get it from the amusement team, then you get it from the surplus transportations, then you get it from the airliners. So heavy discounts, and this discounts not only for you. You can take your loved ones, you can take your family, you can take your papa, mama, brother and sister to every part of the world with these discounts. And this will give a lovable moment for you, because you're taking them to destinations which they might have not dreamt in the dreams that they'll be going there. But this is possible because the career what you're chosen is making them to do this, because this industry permits that. So there is no boredom in your job or in the course what you're doing, and you'll be having more holidays. This is one of the beautiful component of the travel and tourism sector. It's not the static that you work at one particular place, or you work from continuously for 6 days in a week or 7 days in a week. It's not like that. You can go for a break. Once you do a big tour, you can go for a break, you can enjoy your holiday, you can come back with a more enthusiasm and do better commitment in the work. So you have more flexible holidays, and you can work anywhere in the world. Dear friends, parents and students, the most amusing aspect of travel and tourism sector is that this is not limited to Kerala, or is not limited to Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, or any other state in India, or any other state in any other country in Asia, or any other country in Europe, or anywhere. It's global. You can go global. You can go to any part of the world, and your certificate will be a passport for your career, and you are the ambassador of your own career. You can go and work in any corner of the globe, and no bounds for you, and no visa restrictions for you, because your certification itself will tell you that how skilled you are, and this will be a big passport for you to go to across the world and work in any part of the place where you like to work. You can also feel and taste the cultures of different people, different countries, different regions, and you can imbibe with them, and you can be one among them. The saying says that be a Rome in the Roman, be a Roman in the Rome. Similarly, you can go to any country, you can imbibe with them, because the insights, the thoughts, the ways and means of behaving with them, the language, the culture, the techniques, all these things are taught to you as part of your wonderful curriculum. So that is all you can know about the cultures. For acquiring the world-class travel and tourism jobs, dear parents and students, it's not only the course that what you choose, but it is also on the part of the institution where you are making your son, daughter, or anybody else to join, because that matters a big, particularly in this mushrooming, sprawling institutions coming with different pattern of courses. It's very, very wise on the part of the parents and the students to be good at choosing a right institution where their what can have a very bright future and job potentiality in a very rich level, where he can have a handsome earning of money, at the same time 100% satisfaction of the job what he is doing. And in this regard, I would like to say that the curriculum is most important aspect of any course what you choose. And this travel and tourism is curriculum is designed as per the norms of the international standards. And particularly when I talk of the international institutions, is the institutions like IATA, that is IATA, we call as International Air Transport Association, UFTA, Universal Federation of Travel Agents Association, then PATA, Pacific Asia Travel Association. Then we talk about Thai, Travel Agents Association of India, IATO, Indian Association of Tour Operators, then ICAO, Indian International Civil Aviation Organization. So similar organizations are taken into consideration. Their industry partnerships are taken into considerations. We go and link with the hotels, we go and link with the airliners, we go and link with the convention centers, we go and link with the surface transporters, we go and link with the logistic companies. We talk to the managers and we ask them what is the need of the industry, and accordingly the curriculum is designed which doesn't make any bore to the student, because this curriculum is what you work tomorrow in the field or in the real work. And another aspect is the curriculum is not a traditional in nature as what you see in the old tradition way of learning, the blackboard and the white chalk teaching. No, it's not like that, my friends and parents and students. You really enjoy travel and tourism career is learning with fun. Fun is what doesn't make you feel as if you're in a classroom. And AI International College has built up such a wonderful curriculum where we have a lot of innovative teaching methodologies, where sometimes you don't require to write an exam, because instead of writing an exam, you can go for a debating, you can go for a project presentation, or you can go for making a seminar presentation, or you can go for a storytelling, or you can go for a role play. So these type of different innovative teaching methodologies have been imbibed as part of the alternative or the traditional teaching methodology, which is more easier for the students to involve themselves with a more innovation and active and practical approach. My dear friends, parents and students, airliners, transporters, logistic operators, aviation industry, tourism sector, travel sector, this is always jobs related to the words. Sell words, say words with a smile, and travel. These smiles will take you to miles. Travel, you can travel miles only with the smiles on your lips. And apart from this, our curriculum is dependent, and the sector will give you to learn more about other options like the presentation skills, the ability to work in the deadlines, the leadership skills, team working, the ability to do research, problem solving, information technology skills, and communication skills, which is a strong essence of any travel and tourism sector. As our director, Dr. Munir Isdin, has rightly told, that pandemic COVID has really disturbed the world, and there was a small halt for the travel and tourism sector. At the same time, I would really thank the COVID-19 for alarming all of us that what should be taken to make not only travel and tourism sector, but any other sector to go into the future and to think about ourselves that how the future learning is going to be. The learning is going to be digital more in nature. The learning is going to be facilitated by information technology, as AI International College is rightly equipped with the artificial intelligence, so which is imbibed again as part of the curriculum. So travel and tourism sector is really going to be a big boom for the students who are going to take their career here in this AI International College. Apart from that, to give a feeling that for the customers or for the students that I am in a particular place like the Leaning Tower of Pisa or the Great Wall of China, or I'm visiting a Taj Mahal, or I'm going for the hotel, we make you to learn the courses, or we imbibe our courses with more intelligent platforms like artificial intelligence, virtual reality, augmented reality, where you feel the touch and where you can be emotional in nature in going and seeing the destinations and feeling the destinations. And apart from that, my dear friends, parents and students, qualification matters. Qualification from the international institutions, qualification which is internationally accredited, qualification which gives you a passport to travel across the globe matters, and AIIC International College is rightly equipped with such qualifications, and with all the good infrastructure, the state-of-the-art infrastructure, what is required to make it a truly international college in true sense. Now, I would finally say that the parents and the students, you're chosen a right field, you come to a right platform, you're listening to a right webinar, and you're listening to a right professor who has been working in this sector for the last 25 years, working at different national and international platforms, visited different countries, have been an active member of designing the curriculum at the national qualification levels for different countries. I would definitely recommend this. This is the right choice for you to choose a career in travel and tourism, and the coming years are going to be very glorious for your children. And finally, not but the least, I would say that if you choose the career in travel and tourism, and if you choose your destination as AIIC International College because of its geographical location, it's located in Malappuram, Kerala, which is God's own country with lush green forests. Then you have lagoons, backwaters, hilly mountains, good climate, then people smiling, friendly people, and its beauty of nature, where it has the Ayurvedic charm and charisma, which has become one of the prominent destinations for any travel across the globe. So we are fortunate, you are fortunate that you have chosen a right track, and AIIC International College is located in Malappuram, Kerala, which would definitely make travel and tourism a right destination and one of the best courses to be offered in one of the reputed international colleges as the standards of World Education Council curriculum. So dear parents, your child may not be the star in the sky, but if you choose AIIC International College, he will definitely become the lamp of the country. And I strongly feel that if you choose AIIC International College and travel and tourism as your career, you can definitely find the silver line even in the darkest cloud. Thank you to all the parents and the students, and I also thank the chairman of AGI Group and the CEO of AIIC International College, and all the directors of different branches of AGI Group, and eminent professors, learned teachers, parents, and students for hearing to this webinar in a very, very patient way. Thank you, and God bless you all. Namaste.
Dr. Putupuchitraya Bagam, thank you for the inspiring sermon that you delivered today. Your message was exactly what we need to hear. Then we will moving on to the next session. Dr. Ahmed Farazgan. Dr. Ahmed Farazgan is an assistant professor at the Department of Business Administration, Faculty of Management Studies and Research, AIICTE Muslim University. He is an expert on emerging technologies like artificial intelligence, blockchain, and entrepreneurship. He is an empaneled trainer with All India Management Association and has trained top management leading organizations like Last and Turbo, Indian Oil Corporations, GAIL, Virag, Hero, Incorp, etc. on artificial intelligence, blockchain, HR analytics, Industry 4.0, cybersecurity, etc. Sir, please.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Shihab, and before that, Dr. Munir and Professor for a wonderful introduction and insightful thoughts on enlightening this webinar series. And welcome everyone for this wonderful webinar series. And before we move ahead, I would just, with this notion that what is the first thing which comes to our mind, the placement of our children. The first thing which comes to our mind is that we should invest in something which will secure their future. And if we look at the job scenario, if we look at the recent surveys of the Future of Jobs report by Deloitte and leading organizations, when I see the top 10 emerging jobs in the world, which include data scientists, AI and machine learning specialists, big data specialists, digital transformation specialists, and of jobs like information technology services. If I look at all the top 10 emerging jobs, we realize that at the base of it lies IT, information technology, and more of today, artificial intelligence. If we notice that we have silently moved into the fourth industrial revolution, also called the Industry 4.0, where there are primarily three drivers of this fourth industrial revolution: the data, the connectivity, and artificial intelligence. And these are the foundations on which the future of all the industries of the world is now shifting to. And the industries which have not shifted, or the companies which have not realized this, are now extinct. And all the future employers of the world, as well as the top employers today, are focusing hell-bent on artificial intelligence, incorporating it in their day-to-day operations in everywhere. And when I interact with the top corporates of India, I realized one very important gap. And that gap is there might be engineers who can code. There might be engineers who can give you the AI foundations, but there are very few management experts. There are very few people who can really exploit that artificial intelligence base and create business value for the organizations. And here I think for parents and students, there lies a wonderful gap, and this can secure the future in a beautiful manner. It can be a very beautiful marriage of the gap and your aspirations. You can fulfill your aspirations by fitting into this gap, by learning artificial intelligence at this stage. Rightly pointed out by Dr. Munir that PGDM is the right way of going about it because of the industry focus, because of the autonomy of the institutions. And AI International College is very well placed in this line. They have the best of infrastructure. They have the best of faculty to help you achieve this. There is the courses which have been mentioned, the specializations mentioned by Dr. Munir. They are a cross-fertilized way in which a lot of cross-fertilization of ideas can take place in a campus, and a vibrant career can emerge out of that. The students will be exposed, and they will be part of an elite group of students who will be pioneers in India, to be focused on and to be taught like this in a manner in God's beautiful country, in the words of the senior professor, and where there will be collaboration and co-creation simultaneously, where areas like supply chain management and logistics management, which is being completely redefined in this COVID-19 era, and tourism and travel, if we look at it with the coming of technologies like self-driving cars and modern things powered by AI, and entrepreneurship. If you look at the newspapers daily, if you look at the magazines, if we go around and see the magazines, there will be some success stories every day of entrepreneurs exploiting the technologies of artificial intelligence and blockchain to solve problems. And this is where, if you look at the investments the top companies are making in this area, we have Microsoft planning to invest around $1 billion in artificial intelligence. The world's leading venture capitalist, SoftBank, has developed a fund, which is a $108 billion fund to be exclusively focused on artificial intelligence. And it is not just these top corporate organizations who are focused on artificial intelligence and IT. There's scientific community, there is academic community who knows that the future lies here. And with these technologies, we will be able to solve a lot of problems, like wicked problems, which earlier we would not have been able to solve, like climate change and like poverty. and like last mile connect, like distribution of wealth. All of this can be done very effectively if we start employing these technologies like artificial intelligence and blockchain and all. And this is where the heart and soul of AI International College lies. They want to basically, we want to build this base for you so that you can progress over that. And if we look at the future jobs, we will realize that in the next couple of years, there's going to be a huge displacement in the job market. And this has already taken place. If we look at the repetitive, routine, and optimizing kinds of jobs, artificial intelligence is making them irrelevant today. But what will remain tomorrow and in the future will be the jobs which require a bit of creativity and strategy, complexity, which require your acumen, which require the cross-fertilization of ideas, and which will make you safe in the future and will also empower you to exploit these technologies to the advantage of your country, to the advantage of the society, and build the base that. And moreover, there will be like simple coding skills. And nowadays, when you open the internet, when you open YouTube, there will be advertisements of a lot of organizations giving you certifications in data science and all these things. This is the reality. All of these things have become very, very accessible to everyone. But what is important here is to focus on the higher level jobs, on the higher level skills which are required. Jobs like AI managers. There will be AI specialists who will be there, who can do the coding and who can manage technology for you. But how will you collaborate with this technology? How will you socialize with this technology? How will you negotiate with this technology? How will you create business value for the organizations? Here PGDM, a course like PGDM in artificial intelligence gives you that edge. Becoming a master, becoming disruptor, becoming entrepreneurial in your approach, creating new business models, and exploiting these technologies in a way that will pave the way for the future. This is what AI International College is focusing on, to give you that edge. And before I end my part, I would just like to share with you a simple story. And it's not just a story, it's the reality of the world, one of the world's richest man and most successful and most impactful person in the world, Bill Gates. If you remember, if you have read the story, Bill Gates studied in a school called Lakeside School. And it was in 1968, he was in 8th grade. And this school at that time had a computer club. And that gave him an access to coding at the age, very, very young age, in the 8th grade. And he got an opportunity to start early. And what we see, the business success of Bill Gates, but we don't realize that Bill Gates, by the time he was 17 years of age, he had already amassed around 10,000 hours of practice of coding. And this made him what a real computer person. And in the future, we can compare it to the modern day pioneer like AI International College, who is providing you with that edge at this stage, like what Lakeside School provided that edge to Bill Gates at the time, to learn early, to adapt to artificial intelligence early, to pave and make your future so that in the future you become a leader, not just for the industry, but also for your country, also for the humanity. Thank you. I think that is what I wanted to explain. Thank you.
Dr. Ahmed Farazgan, I'm grateful for the time that you spent in careful preparation to present with us a meaningful weekly sermon. Thank you, sir. Moving on to the next. Professor Naresh Swarrier, Naresh Swarir is an industry veteran with over 32 years of experience in the auto component industry. He sought premature retirement from the Minda Group, a billion-dollar auto component multinational, as Executive Director and Chief Executive Officer. He has joined Atlas Ideal International College as Professor of Entrepreneurship. We welcome you, sir.
Good evening and thank you. My name is Naresh Warrior. Let me start by thanking all of you who have spared the time to attend this webinar. We will take the next few minutes to explain or spend some time to understand why a PGDM in entrepreneurship can be a fairly interesting option, especially looking at the massive job cuts that have taken place thanks to the pandemic. In fact, it's interesting that the unemployment levels in India are the highest they've been in the last 45 years, which is a worrisome situation. If you look at all the advanced economies of the world, all the advanced nations of the world, be it the US, be it Western Europe, be it South Korea, be it Japan, and even China, they have all created a very strong entrepreneurial spirit. In fact, the Silicon Valley is one of the great examples of what created the entrepreneurial spirit in the US. Closer home, Bangalore has created a very interesting Silicon Valley in the Indian context. Of course, the question we will all have in the future is, can we create of Silicon Valley in Malappuram? Okay, it's a dream we can all have. Why not? In the next 15, 20 years, maybe Malappuram becomes a Silicon Valley. If you look at the recent state-wise ranking of the startups in India, the top state in the country is Gujarat, but followed fairly closely by Kerala, which obviously means that Kerala has created a very strong and a conducive ecosystem for startups. So ultimately, I think it's job creators and not job seekers which will pave a way for the progress of this country. Of course, then a question comes, why should you look at Atlas? I mean, there are other possibilities. So why look at Atlas as Atlas Group as a possibility? You know, over the last 100 years or so, B schools across the world have been teaching management and training students to be managers. There are very, very few B schools which have got into the business of teaching entrepreneurship. So what is the difference between a manager and an entrepreneur? A manager, where the manager sees a problem, an entrepreneur sees an opportunity. For somebody like me who was a manager, I always looked at problems. But for a good entrepreneur, you would probably look at opportunities. You would convert this problem into an opportunity. So I think it's only over the last 5 or 10 years or maybe 15 years that schools across the country, B schools across the country and indeed the world, have begun to offer full-fledged courses on entrepreneurship. There is a very interesting debate which has taken place over the last few decades, maybe for the last 50 years, whether it's called the nurture versus nature debate, which means, are entrepreneurs born or are entrepreneurs made? Which means, are there certain category of people who are born with the traits which are required by entrepreneurs? Or is entrepreneurship something which can be taught? We at AI International firmly believe that entrepreneurship can be taught. It's not something, there are traits of course you're born with, but we believe that with the right training, anyone with the right attitude can be an entrepreneur. And I think that is why we've decided to offer this course in business entrepreneurship as one of the few institutes in the country which have a full-fledged course on entrepreneurship. Okay? We believe strongly that we will create an ecosystem where students will be taught to think, you will be taught creative problem solving, creative opportunity generation. And I think that is the kind of ecosystem we would like to create for students who are interested in being entrepreneurs. So if you want to be a job creator rather than a job seeker, please come and join us. We would very happily welcome you into this exciting possibility. Thank you so much for listening in, and all the best to all of you. Do take a considered decision because this, according to me, is a major step in your life. So before you decide on what you want to do and which institute you want to offer, please take time off and take a very careful and considered decision. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the inspiring sermon that you delivered now. We hope you will consent to speak us again. Perhaps will be soon. And moving on to the next session. Professor Anissa Isfi, Coventry University, Dagenham, UK, PGDM in Supply Chain and Logistics. Please, ma'am. I think there are some technical issues. You can wait, please. Hi, ma'am.
Oh. Hello, can everybody hear me okay?
Yeah, please, you can. Thank you.
Yes, hello, can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much for of course, the introduction. My name is Anissa. Welcome to today's webinar. I'll be running through an important topic of supply chain management, which is part of course, the course program. First of all, a short introduction of myself. I am an existing lecturer, which is based in London in the UK, and have been covering various different programs in higher education, such as, for example, travel and tourism management, business management, and a bit of health and social care. I have been lecturing in different universities across London for over 8 years now, and I have a master's degree in international business. And of course, my key areas that I specialize in is marketing, economics, and human resources management. The company that I will be working on for today, of course, as most of you might know, is the AI International College, which is based in Kerala. And AIC is a subsidiary of Atlas Group of Institutions that is applying in the social contribution of a inspiring intellectual generation for over 3 decades, which is run in UAE. And of course, they offer as well national and international accreditation in the field of commerce. So that's about it from myself and the company as well. Now let's move on to run through the most important topic of supply chain management. So with supply chain management is of course a very interesting subject area where you'll be learning a lot to do with all the areas of the businesses moving across from places to places and how they tend to transfer the products by using the distribution channels and applying the logistics sides. So when it comes to the supply chain management, it is a very active management of supply chain activities, which is to maximize the customer value and achieve a sustainable competitive advantage based on all the other organizations that they are competing with from the markets that they are in. So it represents a conscious effort of the supply chain firms to develop and run the supply chain in the most effective and efficient way as possible. So with the supply chain activities, these are covering everything from all the way to the product development. So how do companies tend to produce the product in their manufacturing, how they develop it, and of course the outsourcing, which is how they take the product from their manufacturing and distribute it all the way to the customer, or in other terms, in the retailer. So the sourcing and the process of running the product line all the way to the customer's hands, let's say, is what makes the supply chain itself to manage all of these particular areas that the company should be focusing on in the production line, as well as the outsourcing. So it covers a lot of areas of the production and the logistics behind it, on terms of what type of transportation tools the businesses are running, how they tend to distribute these products, and the market that they are in, and of course how many of these products needs to be at the marketplace at the right time, at the right place, of course for the customer satisfaction. So this covers a main important aspect of how the companies run the management side of this process, which is all related to, of course, the supply chain. Now let's have a look at a few examples of the concept of the supply chain management, which are mainly on two core ideas. The first idea is where, of course, like we've mentioned, every product that reaches an end user, it represents the cumulative effort of the multiple organizations. Some companies, they may refer this to other organizations as well. So for example, if we have a company that is running, let's say in a particular place where they produce their product, but they may not have their own distribution channels, which means their own transportation to deliver the product to their customer, or to distribute it even in other countries if it's a global business, then they'll be in contact with other organizations, which will allow them to be able to complete the process of the supply chain. So they can get a contract with another company, which will only distribute the products at a specific time or specific place, ongoing basis. So it could be maybe once a week, twice a week, or once a month, depending on how much products they need to be transported to the other places, to the other market. So that is one example of the organizations referring to the supply chain when it comes to the product that then reaches out to their customer. The second idea is where the supply chains have existed for a long time, and this comes as an entire chain of activities which deliver the products to their final customer. So when it comes to the final customer, especially nowadays with digital marketing, where most of the products are online, even services are online, many customers, they don't even have to go to the actual retailer or go to the companies to be able to buy the products, because they can just go online and order it, and it can be anywhere in the country. So they could be ordering products from Japan, for example. They could be ordering products from Europe, so any other particular countries. They could be just going online and ordering any products that they prefer. So the companies that are running through those places, of course, need to complete the supply chain results to bring in the effectiveness and the efficiency to their customer. So the companies could be running anywhere in the whole world and still be able to provide the products and the services to their customer. So that is the second idea of how beneficial, let's say, the supply chain management has become, especially nowadays when it comes to digital marketing, because it makes the process so much easier for companies as well as for the customer. So other examples looking at here, many companies, they use a supply chain which is linked together the whole physical flows and the information flows. And businesses operate from their daily activities by looking at how the inflows and outflows tends to be relating to their own operations of management. So the idea with the topic itself, or with this particular area, subject area, is to learn about how do businesses run their inflows and outflows of looking at the operations of their management. so how they actually operate in their daily activities and how they tend to manage the whole chain of their supply. Other key areas, we're looking at the supply chain designs, which is related to the business models and how the business models applies in manufacturing of their company's products and services. Every company has their own sort of design because, of course, it's to do with their structure and the way that they run the company. We're looking at logistics networking as well and how they tend to apply the performance impacts on the efficiency. So how the logistic networks fulfills in the entire process of the efficiency of that particular way of the system that the companies tend to use for, again, within their internal company's aspect. Looking at the supply chain integration strategies as well, some companies may use their own strategies when they also impact the level of supply and demand, and that is the effects of competition, the effects of economics, the effect of the market itself where they're based in. So for example, there can be how many products they should be supplying, how many of them should be transported in their particular markets, who's going to be buying these, what is the supply like, what is the demand of that market as well. So these are other examples that you can learn about this particular topic area. Other examples is the strategic alliances for logistics, like we looked at when companies want to be in contact with other companies as well. They can form some type of a strategic alliance between the two, or simply look at how the logistics and the retailer supplier relationship could be as a particular vendor managed inventory, so they can make the process even more easier and more suitable, again, depending on the relationship and the condition that the business wants to run. If it's a small company, a medium size, or a large company, or a multinational business, it's always good ideas of forming strategic alliances for the logistics and develop the retailer supplier relationship to manage the inventories according. Other examples with the logistics, again relating to the product design, the implications of the logistic performance, and the market responsiveness as well. So you're going to look at a little bit of examples on how the market tends to respond back to the logistics processes. Also looking at the international supply chain, which is always good at picking up examples and relating to business case scenarios, or looking at relevant situations in companies, because international supply chain, it has, of course, much more implications than if it was internally within the country. Because if you have a company that operates in one country, it's easier for them to supply the product within that country. But if they had to go international, then of course they need to look at more transportation, they need to look at a better way of developing the logistics process, they need to be able to manage their supply chain, the product line again, so it becomes a bit more complex, which is always useful in looking at these big multinational companies as examples to relate at these examples of the international supply chain. So it is an interesting subject area. You'll be able to understand and learn quite a lot in relation to the supply chain management and the logistics. And of course, how companies are running these, how they actually apply the method of the supply chain, whether if it's, again, a small company, a medium size, or a big multinational business, whether if they're making products or whether if they're selling a service, the supply chain is still there to manage. If it was a service on the other side, for example, a travel and tourism company, then that process of supply chain is a bit more easier than if it was to produce items, simply because they're selling a service, so they don't have to produce an actual physical product, but they still need to look at how they're going to deliver that particular service directly to their customer. So it could be examples on online bookings, if it was a travel and tourism company, can be through contacting the customers directly, or even selling on different platforms, either again online on their websites, or or through the word of mouth, depending on the type of business it is. But there's still kind of a process to be handled there. Right, so the idea with the supply chain, hope you can be able to understand further and learn about it in your next courses when you join in and you actually start to learn more about the actual subject area. Just to remember what it covers the role of the product line, it covers the inventories. The supply chain also looks at the production inventory models as well. So how the business tends to produce their products, how they manage the product line, and when it comes to the stock to deliver to their customer, it's another outsource service as well that will cover more examples and models to be covering. Supply contracts, it's also another example where, again, companies could be producing contracts with other companies, or they could simply run through their supply chain contracts. The information sharing between each other of the business, as well as perhaps to their customers, again, depending on what they are selling. And with distribution strategies as well. So the distribution strategy itself, whether if the company makes a product from their manufacturing and wants to sell it directly to their customer, or if they want to send it to their wholesalers first, and then from the wholesaler it goes to the retailer, and then from the retailer it goes back to the customer. It's a different process as well. So there's different types of distribution strategies, processes here, that again, you'll be able to learn more about this. And there's a few theories as well that covers this particular subject area within the supply chain. And of course, the logistic providers and the managing of the entire product variety and the information that goes along that particular management that consists within the supply chain. Other examples you can look at in the future is all about international issues as well that could always affect or impact the supply chain. Some examples of international issues could be related to tax, such as tariffs and quotas with international borders, trading applications, trade legislations as well, and taxes within countries to countries that can always impact the supply chain. Or a good example, if it was the UK business, and we know that Brexit is coming in January, then that could link to a lot of issues when it comes to trade, depending on what the legislations will be processed by then. So you can look at many examples of the international issues that can always influence or impact the supply chain. And of course, business case scenarios and business examples are always useful to be picking up and learning from, especially when it comes to the examples of the supply chain. Is there any particular questions about the supply chain management at all?
No, ma'am.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am. Actually, after your sessions that we are planning about a question and answer session.
All
so
right, okay.
I hope and I request you to stay back once again for the questions. And thank you so much for your presentation on the supply chain and logistics management. And
thank you very much.
Exactly needed to hear from you. Thank you once again. Many thanks from all of us, ma'am.
I hope everybody enjoyed the supply chain management topic area, and I wish everyone an enjoyable rest of the day and the rest of the session as well. Thank you very much, everybody, and have a good day.
Thank you on behalf of all.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And next sessions, that the interesting one, and now it's 10 you guys, and any questions that you can, I've already mentioned in the time, that you can use your chat box for your questions and answers. And the answers our presenters will give you directly. Dr. Munir, sir, there is a question here. Maybe that you can also see that in the chat box. And I'm an MBA graduate from Cochin, currently working in managerial positions in Dubai. While I couldn't find much connections with what is taught in my college and what is required at workplace. What I studied doesn't work out much practically in the industry, considering the above. What would you suggest to our college colleges for institutions improvement. Sir, Dr. Munir, sir? You are on mute, please, sir.
Okay, just to reframe the question, is that there's a question that I have learned a lot of things from the University of Life than the pieces of knowledge I collected from books and college. Could you please reflect on the ideal proportion of knowledge, skill development, character building mix required to be maintained in our curriculum and instructional delivery? Dr. Naresh Parrier, is he available there?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I would request Professor Dr. Naresh Parrier to throw some light on this question. The question is like from a student that he has said that he says that he has learned a lot of things from the University of Life, from his experience maybe, than the pieces of knowledge that he collected from the college. So he's asking about the reasonable blending of how is the reasonable blending of knowledge, skill, and values in our curriculum. We can have a thought on it, Dr. Various.
Okay, so I will just take a couple of minutes. You know, if you look at, I'll just go back and go back to GMAT, which is the body which conducts the GMAT. Okay, I'm sure all of you have heard the GMAT, and they've spoken of 5 skills, or I'm not even talking of skills, knowledge, 5 you know, ingredients of a successful manager when you get out of a B school. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the 5 ingredients they have spoken of is number 1, your analytical ability, your ability to solve problems, right?
Yeah.
The second ingredient is once you are able to understand, you are able to decipher what the problem is and solve it, then you have to communicate. So you have what is called the ability to communicate. You also have to remember that when you work in an organization, you're working in a social environment, which means you have to learn to work with people. So you require people skills. As a B school graduate, you are also taught, I wouldn't want to use the word leadership because leadership comes a little later, but surely what I call initiative. So you are taught to take initiative. And the 5th, and I think the most important, or I wouldn't say the most, but extremely important aspect is what I call a work ethic. Having said that, so these are the 5 basic qualities which you look for in a B school graduate. Having said that, I just want to, tell you, my dear friend, that management education or MBA education is not a vocational course. For example, if you're a plumber or an electrician, you do a course and then the next day you are able to, do practically what you've been taught. As a B school graduate, you are looking at a more holistic picture. So I said these are the 5 qualities a B school should inculcate in a graduate or a graduate in a graduate program. Of course, then we use technology, we use innovation. Those are all the tools you use in order to ensure that these are the 5 qualities which you need to inculcate. And these are the qualities which have come from industry. They have not come from academics. Industry have told GMAT that these are the 5 qualities which a B school graduate must possess. I don't know if I've answered your question, but I'm
it's quite clear, sir. Yeah. So I hope that question is well answered and it's a well thought out question as well. I should congratulate the person who asked this question. And I think anything is to be added over there, Dr. PT. You think any other point is to be added to what Dr. Naresh Parrier has said? I think it's all right, yes? So we have another question, maybe Dr. Faraz is there, Dr. Faraz? Maybe I could, yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, Dr. Faraz, there's a question that is more related to technology and teaching, or I could just read the question as such. Could you suggest some novel ways of teaching and learning or just thinking in the area of higher education being followed? So how can our institutions ensure a vital link between education and technology to enhance employability of our graduates? So especially with the advent of AI, how can we, come up with the new solutions in teaching and learning process?
Yes, yes. It's a very, very good question. In fact, there is a paradigm shift which is taking place, and not just industry, but also in the academia. And the way we technology, and if we look at the COVID-19 situation here, this eruption has only speeded up. Because now we all have realized, earlier we had a chance of just ignoring this trend that okay, we can do without technology, and we still many in our kind of setups, there are still teachers and professors who prefer the chalk and the board, and though there's nothing wrong with that, but yes, the times are changing. And this technology, when we have the curriculums today, and technology becomes not just as a topic in the teaching, but also as the medium through which they are taught. Like for example, I'll give you an example today. In the COVID-19 era, we have been teaching students to use collaborative tools very, very effectively in our online classes, and creating an online experience which is much more real, and in fact which is much more productive than we could have in the physical world. I am not saying I have nothing against the physical or a cohabited environment. I think there are some real benefits of that, but even in the virtual space, we are able to utilize technology to an extent that we are able to be much more productive. And in fact, if we look at some of the examples of the organizations who were well situated and prepared, examples of Accenture, I have been studying that case study, and I've been asking my students to go out there and see that Accenture, Gartner, these were the organizations who were already ready with all these technologies and were embracing digital technologies. And in fact, if you look during the COVID-19 era, their business has been gone exponential. So now they have become the first choice for majority of the others, because being the consultants and technology implementers, they have become the pioneers. And that's what I think we need to focus on, in having a nice blend of all the technologies and making students the practitioners and the masters of these technologies. That's how the technology can really help.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Faraz.
Thank you, Dr. Hamid Farazga. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, what he suggested is a very quite interesting way of getting acquainted with the technology well before we move to the corporate. That is what he said. What is the summary of what he has contended? That's very interesting. At the same time, I have another question that is more related to travel, not in the sense of travel and tourism as such, but I think Dr. PT could be the best person to answer this question. This question says like this: so I graduate with 5 years of work in Muscat. Due to the current pandemic, I'm planning to come back to hometown Mumbai and pursue my higher education to scale up my skills and competencies. How would you predict the nature of future education? And will our colleges continue to follow the same age-old curriculum? Do you suggest Kerala as a safe educational destination, especially in the post-COVID scenario? So this is like a three kind of questions put together. But I think Dr. PT could be.
Definitely, I would say that the post-COVID scenario in the education sector would definitely be something different, which we have never seen before. And the age is going to be totally digital in nature, and artificial intelligence and other similar technical knowledge has to be imbibed by the student in the coming days. Everything has to be revolutionized. As he was telling that how an institution has to cope up with such qualities, right? Modern thinking with rational thoughts and global output should be the concept of the day. And we should always see that whatever I am learning in my classroom or in my books or through my books, whether I'm going to put it in my own place or it is going to be showcased at the global level. And when I want to see at the global level, I should also see that the knowledge what I'm gaining is at par with the global level or not. If not, how should I equip them? What my professors can teach me, whether the institution has proper infrastructure like that. So these are the minute points every student has to put in his mind before taking a course or selecting the institution. Yes, Kerala being one of the prominent states of India, encouraging more startups and very top moving state in the information technology, and now moving faster with the satellite technology. I hope and I probably wish that AI International College with such commendable inputs being in Kerala will definitely go to the world mark and equip the students who are doing the courses in this institution to compete at the global level, and they always be the front runners, or say the top achievers rather than the lagging people.
All right.
Thank you,
So
sir.
much, Dr. PT. You have very well covered the question, and the answers was very encouraging, especially for us hosting this campus here in Kerala, and you being coming from a different, country as of now. Of course, you're from India, but at the same time you are coming from the other nation after having been taught there for quite number of years. So interesting. Thank you so much. Now there's a question. It's not directly related to supply chain management as such, but I would like to pose this question and would get this question answered by Ms. Anisa. Are you there, ma'am? Yeah. Okay. Hello.
Sorry, I was on mute. I'm here.
Yeah, I will ask this question. There's a question that is not directly related to supply chain as such, but you could also give some light on what are the best practices that we in Kerala and in India can emulate from the best practices of the UK educational system.
Yeah.
So the question goes like this. I'm an MBA graduate from Cochin, which is of course in Kerala, currently working in a managerial position in Dubai. However, I couldn't find much connection with what is taught in my college and what is required at workplace. What I studied doesn't work out much practically in industry. Considering the above, what would you suggest to our colleges for institutional improvement? So the graduate of college in Kerala is asking that how can our colleges improve on the teaching and learning process? So maybe from your perspective, from the European perspective, how we should,
Yes.
carry forward. Yes.
Sure, I'll answer that. Thank you first for the question. When it comes to teaching and learning, it is always areas of improvement. Even myself, when I come down to lecturing at different universities, I've worked with many, Coventry University, Arden University, Bath University, so there have been a few. There's always areas of learning, even with myself when I come across to teaching. The best practice is to learn from others, and others can always influence myself, and I can always influence others at the same time. When it comes to improvement, we need to first identify what are perhaps the issues that either the students or us as staff members may be lacking of. It could be maybe lack of resources. It could be perhaps sometimes they want further explanations on certain things, or they want maybe more examples or practice. So many different students will have different ideas or different perspective to what makes their learning as a continuous way. And some of them may agree, some of them of course may not agree. There's always good when there is a disagreement and agreement, because we can always discuss and relate to further further examples to understand why they are agreeing or why they are disagreeing, and be able to pick on certain of these particular areas where they disagree, or areas where they're not happy about certain things, or simply they're not learning. And it's always good to find out why they're not learning. What is the issue behind it? What is the problem that we need to identify as tutors and be able to meet with them? So if I have a class full of 30 students, for example, I'm only one person. So it's very difficult for me to go to every single student and identify what is their ideas, what is their perspective about the subject area, or even what is that they actually wanting us to apply to them. Because when we are delivering the lectures, especially here in London, we deliver for the entire group, for the entire class, and then we have those one-to-one sessions for support after the actual lecture that is completed. So the one-to-one is actually a very good approach for learning and for teaching, because that's when you have a direct contact with the students, and we try to have a discussion with them. We try to find out what they learned in today's lesson or in today's lecture, what feedback they may have as well. And in that feedback, we can see that if there is any improvements to be made, then we can identify exactly what they wish for us to do. If there's positive feedback, then we know that we did a good job and we delivered quite well. So teaching and learning, it comes hand in hand with each other, because we have to interact with the students and we have to find out that they have actually learned something in that session or in that lesson. So it's always good to collect that feedback. It's always good to identify if there is any issues. And if there is any issues, that we can pick those up and find ways on how to improve it, because there's always solutions to every problem, or every issue, there's always a solution. So as every student, enjoy yourselves in the class, interact with your tutor, ask many questions, especially if you don't understand something, because if you ask questions, you will have a clear understanding to what is that you want to know about. And always look at your own practical side, because everyone has our own experiences, whether if it's a business course or travel and tourism course. We all have worked in these industries. We all have some type of experience in these industries, whether if you are tutors or whether if we are students, we still have that type of experience. So it's good to bring it into the classroom and link all of these theories, all of these examples with the practical side as well. And I will say to every student to enjoy themselves, have fun in the class, and always interact with your tutor and ask lots of questions. And of course, tell them if you don't understand anything, that they can go through it. And of course, if there is areas of improvement, we can pick on those and improve those as well. I hope I've answered the question. I went too long.
Very well answered.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Actually,
Thank you.
what you have said is like things measured get monitored, and things monitored get
Yes.
progressed. This is what the bottom line of your response, and I very much like it. And then I'm hopeful that the students will be on a regular basis and they will be given feedback, and it will be grounded on two-way kind of interactions, and we will keep up the interactions very active, so that the line of communication is.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for answering that question. And there is another question which is not very long question, and in fact it's a very short question, unlike the previous question. Maybe ma'am, we can throw some light on that question. It's about maritime risk and how is it affecting the supply chain. Maritime risk.
Yes, can you say that again? I didn't catch the last word.
Maritime risk, how the risk in the sea is going to affect the supply chain in the current scenario.
The risks.
Yeah.
Right. So the risks, of course, it can be technical issues when it comes to manufacturing of the product. So if a company is producing a product in their manufacturing, and if there's a technical
excuse me, ma'am, it's not about manufacturing risk as such. It's about like voyage and shipment and related to sea, a port and all. How can we capture those risks, and how can we
that's right.
minimize?
So
yes.
The reason I linked it to the manufacturing was when it comes to a technical issue in the company's manufacturing, and the product can be faulty, or it can be cannot be a useful one, and if they ship those over to the actual market, of course the customer won't be happy. That could be one example of the product line. The other types of risks when it comes to the delivery or the transportation, so the type of transportation that the companies are using, Some companies, they use, for example, aeroplanes to transport their products to the market. Others may use their boats, others may use lorries or vans, depending on where they are based in and where they're going to be locating their particular product to. So sometimes with the transportation itself, if there is a delay or if they don't come up on time, or perhaps the transportation itself runs longer than what it was already planned for, that could cause a lot of disruption for the business, because one, they'll be wasting a lot of money and a lot of costs that needs to be go according to it, and time as well. And of course, the customer will not have the products in the shops for them to be able to buy them. So they'll be out of stock. They'll probably have to wait for a long period of time. And of course, they'll be wasting a lot of their cost and money as well. So the idea with transportation delays, it can cause a lot of disruptions. And another particular good example, what we had with the coronavirus back in March, where everything was completely shut down, we saw that we could not be able to get many stock in our shops because all the shelves were empty. And I personally, myself, had to wait for over a month just so I could be able to go and get some access for these hygiene products, because they were all out of stock and I could not be able to get anything from there. So it was about 6 weeks until we could be able to get back those items. And probably this happened more or less in every country or everywhere across the globe, where everything went shut down and closed, which affected not only us as customers in buying product, but many businesses as well, that they have to delay their transportation. They had to, the companies had to be out of stock and not having access to the actual products itself. So the risks can be with the demand that can be affected, as well as the supply, and the company can lose a lot of money and a lot of time as well when these things happen. A good example with technology, where many companies nowadays as well, they have this particular software where they can trace and track every single item, where they are and when they're going to be getting at the particular place where they should be going. So for example, the day that they leave their manufacturing, and by the time it goes all the way to the shops where they're supposed to be going, they can track it just by logging in into the system. And they can see all their items, how many they have produced and how many they're supposed to be delivered, and exactly where they are, so where they're located, especially if it's an international process. They'll be looking at which countries they're in, how many they got into that country, how many they got into the other country, how many they got to the other place as well, so they can keep a full focus on exactly how many products they have produced and how many they are transporting and where it actually is going. And this is a very good beneficial way when it comes to technology, and everything made it so much easier with technology in tracking and tracing all of these products within the supply chain. So that's another way of avoiding risks in the future as well. Of course, it's an expensive one because every system, it comes into a cost. So many companies which have invested into these software they could have access to exactly managing where the products are and where when they're going to be delivered to their customer. So I think that covers it more or less. I don't want to go too long in explaining again, but yes, I hope that answered the question with the risks in supply chain. Oh, I can't hear
your mic
you.
is good, Dr. Munir.
Oh, I can hear now. Sorry, I cannot hear anybody speaking. I'm not sure if it's my microphone.
Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am. His mic is mute. Just a second.
All right, okay. Thank you.
No, wait. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you so much, ma'am. This was an interesting session with you as well. And all the panelists were able to provide wonderful answers for the questions that have been raised. So we will proceed further, Mr. Shah. Yeah.
Okay, to the next session. I would like to welcome my co-colleague, Mr. Akash Mehta, to give a word of thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Shihab. Thank you very much. A very warm and graceful evening to one and all present here. It is my privilege to propose vote of thanks and acknowledge the contribution of those who have worked really hard to make this webinar happen. I, Akash Mehta, on behalf of AI International College and the entire Atlas group of institutions, extend my most sincere thanks to our director, Dr. Muniruddin. Sir, your thoughts have enlightened our mind. Next, I would like to thank Dr. Ahmed Faraz Khan for demonstrating the job scenario in 2022. I'm immensely thankful to Dr. Potikuchi Trayambakam for showing career path in tourism and travel. I would also love to thank Professor Naresh Subramaniam Warrior to motivate us to be a job creator rather than just being a job seeker. I would especially like to thank Professor Anisa Isufi for connecting us from all the way from London, UK. And thank you, ma'am. Thanks for throwing light on future supply chain and logistics. And before I conclude, I would want to thank my co-colleague, Mr. Shiab Thangal, board members, IT team, and all the team members who have worked really hard to make this webinar happen. Lastly, our most sincere gratitude goes to all the parents, students, and the audience for your rock-solid support system and encouragement. Thank you so much for attending this webinar, and we hope to see you again in our future webinars. Thank you so much.